Don't make me say it. He's gonna make me say it. I agree with Tom Hanks for the first time in a long time.
Whoa!
So with the election happening today, politics is going to change forever. We don't know yet which way, but I know some people who are shaking in their boots are the people in Hollywood, what it means for film if the one that they don't want gets into office. This kind of has prodded people to talk more about upcoming projects, about the state of film and cinema, and less about their dumbass takes. And Tom Hanks is one of them, at least for this small little snippet. So Tom Hanks on an interview with the Happy Sad podcast, and these have been coming out. Robert Zemeckis was just on there. There were things released about how he wanted Back to the Future 4, if ever possible, to be a cinematic musical. And also he talked about how Who Framed Roger Rabbit Part 2 couldn't come out with Hollywood today because they tend to uglify hot women. It just wouldn't be permissible. He went on this podcast and says, we've had 20 years of comic book spectacle, but now moviegoers are asking, the story is what? The point of this movie is what? Just now, Tom? All right. This will be a filtered reaction to this article because I have read it before and I just felt like I should capture and be my snarky little self with some of the things that he's saying, because I do agree with how he's come to this decision and this conclusion. But I just think too little, too late, the dimension's setting in. He said that he's never had a meeting with Kevin Feige about joining the MCU or broken bread with James Gunn to talk about the new DC universe. Where would he fit in? With that said, Hanks has never had any issues with the movies over the years, although he is noticing now that audiences, they're not wowed and awed by the VFX advanced comic book spectacle in favor of genuine storytelling. Yes, but here's your problem. In phase one of the MCU, there was genuinely good storytelling with good VFX. You can have two things. You could have your cake and eat it too. But yes, now they are just rainbows. And it's just like if you're watching the finale to a fireworks show all the time, of course, fireworks are not going to impress you anymore. You become desensitized. Remember in the 70s and 80s, they tried to do TV versions of Captain America and Spider Man, even the Adam West Batman. The technology didn't exist to make it look like it did in the comic books. Yeah, we're campy. At least the Adam West one played it off as campy and made it more jokey and whimsical. You could do anything at all. You could probably say Christopher Reeve Superman was the first one that came close because that was one of the first times they could allow for wire removal. We all believed he was actually flying when we saw it. Different strokes, different times. Yes, that was amazing. It was mind bending for people in that day because they hadn't seen that kind of stuff before, and that's kind of what Hollywood has always been about. And the only way that it has thrived is because the movies that are on the cutting edge of not identifying but like connecting to the audience, letting them see what they see in their mind and their imagination. Now they see it on screen. That's what captivates the audience. What they feel in their real lives. If you could tell a story that is parallel to that, they connect with that. And that's why these beloved movies that maybe didn't have a great box office release, but then hit their stride with physical media sales and word of mouth. I feel like this is pretty ordinary and elementary, but he seems like he's having an epiphany. So let's just let him have it. We're now enjoying the luxury of riches, and because you can make anything happen, we're being brought to the concept because, okay, but what's the story? Real singer there. You can dream Lake Michigan and fill it with cuckoo clocks and form a three-headed dragon that breathes fire and destroys Chicago. You could do that. Wait, can we? Can we IRL though? But to what purpose? What is the story and what is it going to be saying about us? Oh my goodness. I think he's just been indoctrinated for such a long period of time, and maybe it's a moment of clarity for him. So I don't want to crap on him too much. Like I really don't. But he's not saying anything prophetic or anything that a whole giant swath of customers haven't been saying for the last 15 years. There was a period of time, and I felt this way too, where we would see DC and MCU movies in order to see these better versions of self. I feel like an X-Men sometimes. Sometimes I was confused as Spider-Man. I'm angry as Batman is. Yes, and you don't look like either of them. You didn't have to have the physical representation in order to feel like that character as some part of an embodiment of that character. I love my country as much as Captain America. Hail the USA. We've been down that road. We've had 20 years to explore it, and there seems to be no really good stories anymore. And the story is what? The theme is what? The point of this movie is what? It's the same. Okay, I will answer this for you, Tom. The theme and the point of these movies is to capture an audience that doesn't exist. It's to kowtow to social struggles, social political things that are being thrown in our faces every day. Race swapping, gender swapping, heck, tit swapping. You took Laura Croft, you made her uglier. You made her flat chested. I have nothing wrong. A B cup is, in my opinion, the best cup. But I also like bigger ones too. But that's basically what you've done. You've uglified hot people under the guise of body positivity for the people who, don't pay enough attention to their bodies. They don't pay enough attention to their health. But you have to be, when you become that inclusive, you dumb everything the fuck down. And that's what they've done. It was little by little, but that slope turned into a freaking slip and slide real dadgum quick. And now you're talking about it 20 years later. You finally got the message, did it? The Raven finally made its way over the wall. The comic book genre has been on rockier ground at the box office in recent years. In recent years? Goodness. Ever since Endgame, it's been constantly going down. You had a couple of flashes in the pan with Aquaman and what else? Not really much else because the budgets have skyrocketed too. So even the ones that did make slight bits of money didn't make much, not nearly as much as you would think. And yes, there is this one little caveat, this one little point, and yet Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine is the second highest grossing film of the year, the biggest R-rated release in history with 1.3 billion. But as Hank sees it, moviegoers are no longer just interested in VFX spectacle. I would pick a bone with you, sir, saying that Deadpool and Wolverine was a great story because I think it was a bunch of fan service done well. I don't think it was written well. I think there's a crack ton of plot holes and a lot of things that don't make sense. But I also kind of think they maybe weren't even supposed to. But what we got was a fun, entertaining movie. It didn't rely too heavily on CGI and instead relied on the characters of Deadpool and Wolverine. So, yeah, characters, man. There is no story without characters. The industry often says if this works, it will work again. The industry is almost always wrong. The audience is way ahead of it. Shout out. They see the familiar and they say, I've seen that already. What's next? So it's not just eye-popping stuff. It's what's the story? Tell me about myself. We're in new territory about that every year, it seems. I don't think we need to tell you anything about yourself because you blast it online all the time. You just need to tell relatable stories and nuanced stories where people can glean from what's happening if it's complex enough and well thought out enough. People can glean little aspects and apply it to their own inner selves and their own lives that they deal with on a daily basis. That's what the truly great stories actually do. It's not about telling you what you are and having other people identify you as what you think you are. I have to say this once more. I am in no way upset with Tom Hanks about his statements on. I actually think it would have been a very great and productive conversation to have him list out these points, and then somebody better than me, or at least me myself, I could point out to ways where, like, yeah, we've been telling y'all this. Why are you just now listening to the audience? Is it because you're finally hurting in the pocketbooks? Well, we can also point out how you have been for a long time before and you just held it covered up. So I'm not mad at him, but I am actually kind of, I don't want to say proud, but I'm thankful that he came out and said these points and didn't deride or degrade anything. He said we need to pay more attention to the audiences. What do the audiences want now? What we always wanted. We wanted great characters, memorable characters. Yeah, the cool, flashy stuff is awesome for a big payoff, but we don't want it to be the whole fucking movie. What do you guys think about it? Agree, disagree with me, with Tom, with Thomas Hankerson? Just keep politics out of it. Stop forcing agendas and write good fucking stories. It's that fucking simple. Until next time, this is Malty from the GCA. We will see you tomorrow on Late and Gay, Wednesday night live streams. We will have a special guest.